The distress call. The vast expanse of space stretched endlessly before Captain Maya Steele as she stood on the bridge of the EFS Stormbreaker. The sleek battlecruiser, pride of Earth's interstellar defense fleet, glided silently through the cosmic void. Maya's dark eyes, sharp and alert, scanned the holographic displays surrounding her command station. The ship was on a routine patrol mission along the outer rim of human-controlled space, but Maya knew better than to let her guard down. "Status report," she called out, her voice crisp and authoritative. Lieutenant Raj Patel, the ship's sensor officer, responded promptly. "All systems nominal, Captain. Long-range scans show no anomalies in our immediate vicinity." Maya nodded, allowing herself a small smile. The Stormbreaker was operating at peak efficiency, a testament to the crew's skill and dedication. As she was about to order a course adjustment, a sudden alert blared through the bridge. "Captain," Ensign Zora Chen exclaimed from the communications station, "we're picking up a distress signal. It's not like anything I've ever seen before." Maya's posture stiffened. "On screen, Ensign. Let's hear it." The main view screen flickered to life, displaying a chaotic mix of visual and auditory data. Through the static and interference, a voice emerged, ethereal, almost musical, yet filled with unmistakable terror. "To any who can hear us, we beg for aid. We are the lumina of the celestial harmony. Our world burns, our people die. The void horde descends upon us, consuming all in its path. We are a peaceful race, we cannot defend ourselves. Please, if there is compassion in the universe, help us." As the message repeated, Maya turned to her first officer, Commander Jack Harper. "Thoughts, Jack?" Harper, a veteran of countless missions, stroked his graying beard thoughtfully. "It's well outside our patrol zone, Captain. Could be a trap. The Admiralty might not approve of us deviating from our assigned route." Maya's eyes narrowed, and if it's genuine, we'd be condemning an entire species to extinction. "The Lumina," Dr. Evelyn Frost, the ship's skeleobiologist, chimed in. "I've heard whispers about them. Supposedly an ancient race, highly advanced in art and philosophy, but what, Doctor?" Maya pressed, "but completely pacifistic. They're said to abhor violence in all its forms. If they're under attack, they'd be defenseless." A heavy silence fell over the bridge. Maya felt the weight of the decision pressing down on her. The safe choice would be to report the signal and wait for orders. But every moment they delayed could mean countless lives lost. "Plot a course to the signal's origin," Maya ordered, her voice resolute. "Maximum warp." "Captain," Harper cautioned, "the regulations clearly state." Maya cut him off with a raised hand. "I'm well aware of the regulations, Jack. I'm also aware of our duty as sentient beings. If we ignore this call, we're no better than the monsters attacking them." As the crew sprang into action, Maya keyed in her command codes, accessing the ship's most classified systems. "Initiate Protocol Omega," she commanded. "Disengage all command lockouts and bring weapon systems to full readiness." Warning klaxons blared as the ship's A responded. "Warning. Protocol Omega initiated. All safety limiters disengaged. The Stormbreaker is now operating at maximum combat capacity. Please be advised that this action will be logged and reported to Fleet Command." Acknowledged, Maya responded grimly. She knew the consequences she might face for this decision, but the alternative, letting an innocent species face annihilation, was unthinkable. As the Stormbreaker's powerful engines roared to life, propelling the ship faster than it had ever gone before, Maya addressed her crew. "I won't lie to you. We're heading into unknown territory against an unknown enemy. But out there, right now, an entire civilization is facing extinction. They've called for help, and we're going to answer. This is what we trained for, what we swore to do, to stand against the darkness, to protect those who cannot protect themselves." She paused, looking each Gridge officer in the eye. "I'm asking more of you than I have any right to. If anyone wants to officially register their objection to this course of action, now's the time." The bridge remained silent, save for the hum of machinery. Then, one by one, each officer voiced their support. "We're with you, Captain," Harper said, a hint of pride in his voice. "All the way." Maya nodded, gratitude and determination shining in her eyes. "Then let's show the galaxy what humanity stands for. Helm, engage." The Stormbreaker leaped forward, streaking across the cosmos like a bolt of lightning. As they raced towards the unknown, Maya couldn't help but reflect on the irony of the situation. Humanity, long seen as the newcomers to the galactic stage, often viewed with suspicion or outright hostility by older races, was now rushing to the aid of an ancient civilization. Hours passed, the tension on the bridge palpable. Dr. Frost worked tirelessly, analyzing the scant data they had on the Lumina and the mysterious Void Horde. Lieutenant Pertel fine-tuned the sensors, trying to penetrate the strange interference surrounding their destination. Finally, Ensign Chen called out, "Approaching Lumina space, Captain. Dropping out of warp in 3, 2, 1. The viewscreen flared as the Stormbreaker decelerated, the streaking starlines resolving into a breathtaking vista. Before them lay a solar system unlike any they had ever seen. The central star pulsed with a soft, violet light, illuminating a dozen planets that seemed to glow from within. But the beauty of the scene was marred by unmistakable signs of conflict. Debris fields littered the outer system, the remnants of what must have been a formidable defensive fleet. And there, orbiting the third planet, presumably Lumina Prime, was a sight that sent chills down Maya's spine. A vast armada of ships hung in space, their designs utterly alien and terrifying. Black as the void itself, they seemed to absorb the light around them. Tendrils of dark energy writhed across their hulls, reaching out hungrily towards the planet below. "My God," Harper whispered, voicing the shock they all felt. "Life signs on the planet?" Maya asked, her voice tense. Dr. Frost, her face pale, responded, "Billions, Captain, but they're fluctuating. It's as if..." She trailed off, unable to put the horror into words. Maya understood. The Void Horde wasn't just invading. They were consuming the very life force of the Lumina. "Tactical analysis, Mr. Harper," Maya ordered, her mind racing through potential strategies. "It's not good, Captain," Harper replied grimly. "We're outgunned at least 50 to 1. Their technology, it's like nothing we've ever encountered." Maya nodded, taking in the information. The odds were overwhelming, but she hadn't come this far to turn back now. "Hail the planet," she commanded. "Let's let the Lumina know help has arrived." As Ensign Chen worked to establish communication, Maya addressed her crew one final time. "I won't sugarcoat this. We're about to engage in a battle unlike anything humanity has ever faced. The odds are against us, the enemy is unknown, and we're the only thing standing between an entire civilization and annihilation." She paused, her gaze sweeping across the determined faces before her. "But this is our moment. This is where we show the galaxy what humans are made of. We're not just fighting for the Lumina. We're fighting for every species that has ever faced oppression, for every world that has trembled in the face of overwhelming force." The viewscreen flickered, and a face appeared, ethereal, luminous, with eyes that seemed to hold the wisdom of ages. "I am Alara, High Keeper of the Lumina." The being spoke, its voice filled with a mixture of hope and despair. "You have answered our call, strangers from beyond. But I fear you have come only to witness our final moments." Maya stepped forward, her posture straight, her voice unwavering. "I am Captain Maya Steele of the Earthship Stormbreaker. We've come to fight, High Keeper Elara. Your people called for help, and humanity has answered." Elara's luminous eyes widened in surprise and gratitude. "But you are so few against so many. The Void Horde will." "The Void Horde," Maya interrupted, a fierce grin spreading across her face, "is about to learn why humans are called the most dangerous species in the galaxy. We may be outnumbered, but we will never be outfought." As if in response to her words, alarms blared across the bridge. The Void Horde had detected them, and the massive fleet was now turning its attention to the lone human ship. Battle stations. Maya called out, her voice ringing with authority and determination. Shields up, weapons hot. Let's show these cosmic horrors what happens when they mess with the wrong planet. As the crew rushed to their positions, Maya took her place in the captain's chair, her eyes fixed on the approaching enemy fleet. The battle for Lumina Prime was about to begin, and with it, a new chapter in human history, one that would echo across the stars for generations to come. First contact and assessment. As the Stormbreaker faced down the vast Void Horde fleet, Captain Maya Steele's mind raced through tactical possibilities. The enemy ships, dark and ominous, began to move with an eerie synchronicity that spoke the hive mind or incredibly advanced AI. Evasive maneuvers, pattern Delta 9, Maya ordered. Mr. Harper, target the lead ships. Let's see how they react to a little human ingenuity. The Stormbreaker surged forward, its advanced engines allowing it to dance between the lumbering Void Horde vessels. Beams of concentrated energy lanced out from the human ship, striking the nearest enemy vessels. To everyone's surprise, the attacks seemed to have an effect, causing the dark holes to ripple and distort. Direct hits. Harper called out, a note of triumph in his voice. Their shields seem minimal, Captain. Our weapons are causing damage. Maya allowed herself a small smile. Good, keep pressing the attack. Ensign Chen, maintain an open channel to the Lumina. We need to coordinate our efforts. As the battle in space unfolded, Dr. Frost worked feverishly at her station, analyzing data streaming in from their sensors. Captain, she called out, her voice tight with urgency, I'm detecting massive energy drains from the planet's surface. It's as if the Void Horde is feeding on the planet itself. Maya's expression hardened. We need to buy the Lumina more time. Lieutenant Pertel, scan for weaknesses in the enemy fleet formation. There has to be a way to disrupt their attack on the planet. As Patel worked, the view screen flickered to life, showing the ethereal face of High Keeper Elara. Captain Steele, the Lumina leader, spoke, her voice filled with a mixture of awe and concern. Your bravery is beyond measure, but I fear it may not be enough. The Void Horde is not just an invading army, they are consumers of life itself. Our greatest scientists and philosophers are working on a solution, but we need more time. Maya nodded grimly. We'll give you that time, High Keeper, but we need to know more about what we're facing. What can you tell us about the Void Horde? Any weaknesses we can exploit? As Elara began to explain, the Stormbreaker rocked violently. Several Void Horde ships had broken off from the main fleet and were now focusing their attacks on the human vessel. Shields at 70% and falling, Harper reported, his hands flying over the tactical console. They're adapting to our attack patterns, Captain. We can't keep this up indefinitely. Maya's mind raced. They were making a dent, yes, but the sheer numbers of the Void Horde would overwhelm them eventually. They needed a game changer. High Keeper Elara, Maya said, turning back to the view screen, you said your scientists are working on a solution. What exactly are they trying to do? Elara's luminous eyes seemed to pulse with inner light. For millennia, our people have studied the fundamental forces of the universe. We believe we can create a resonance wave that will disrupt the Void Horde's energy-draining capabilities. But to generate a wave of sufficient power, you need a massive energy source, Maya finished, understanding dawning. Something like, say, a starship's main reactor. Elara's expression shifted to one of surprise and hope. Yes, but, Captain Steele, what you're suggesting would leave your ship vulnerable, possibly even destroy it entirely. Maya shared a look with Commander Harper, seeing her own determination reflected in his eyes. If it means saving your people and stopping this threat, it's a risk we're willing to take. Send us the specifications. We'll find a way to make it work. As the Lumina began transmitting the complex scientific data, the battle around them intensified. The Void Horde, seeming to sense the humans' intentions, pressed their attack with renewed vigor. shields at 40%, Harper called out, his voice strained. We've got multiple hull breaches on decks 7 through 12. Emergency force fields are holding, but barely. Maya gripped the arms of her command chair, her knuckles white. Divert all non-essential power to shields and weapons. We just need to hold out a little longer. As if in answer to her words, a new alarm blared across the bridge. Lieutenant Patel's voice cut through the chaos. Captain, we've got a new problem. I'm detecting a massive energy buildup within the largest Void Horde ship. Whatever they're planning, it's big. The main view screen shifted, showing a colossal vessel at the heart of the enemy fleet. Dark energy swirled around it, forming a vortex that seemed to draw in light itself. Analysis, Dr. Frost, Maya demanded, her eyes fixed on the terrifying sight. Dr. Frost's voice was grim as she responded. If I'm reading this correctly, Captain, they're preparing to fire some kind of energy weapon. The power levels, it could potentially crack the planet's crust, maybe even shatter it entirely. A hush fell over the bridge as the implications sank in. They were out of time. Maya stood, her decision made. Helm, plot a collision course with that ship. We're going to ram it. Gasps and protests erupted from the crew, but Maya silenced them with a raised hand. I know what I'm asking, but if we don't stop that weapon, billions will die. The Stormbreaker was built to protect, and that's exactly what we're going to do. She turned to Dr. Frost. Doctor, work with the Lumina. Find a way to integrate their resonance wave technology with our reactor. If we're going down, we're taking the Void Horde with us. As the crew sprang into action, Maya opened a ship-wide channel. All hands, this is the captain. In a few moments, we will be engaging in a suicide run against the enemy flagship. Our goal is to detonate our reactor in a way that will not only destroy the enemy, but also save the Lumina homeworld. I won't lie to you. Our chances of survival are slim. Anyone who wishes to abandon ship, now is the time. There will be no shame, no repercussions. You've all served with honor. She paused, listening to the silence that followed. Not a single evacuation pod was launched. I'm proud of every one of you, Maya continued, her voice thick with emotion. What we do here today will echo through history. We may die, but our actions will save billions. The Lumina will remember. The galaxy will remember. Humanity will be known not just for its strength in battle, but for its willingness to sacrifice for others. It has been the greatest honor of my life to serve with you. Steal out. As the channel closed, Maya turned to her bridge crew. Their faces were set with grim determination, fear mixed with resolve. Plot the course, Ensign Chen, Maya ordered. Full power to engines. Let's make this count. The Stormbreaker surged forward, its engines straining as it plowed through the enemy formation. Void Horde ships scrambled to intercept, but the human vessel's suicidal charge caught them off guard. Enemy flagship in range in 30 seconds, Harper reported, his voice steady despite the chaos around them. Dr. Frost, status on the resonance wave integration. Maya called out. It's done, Captain, Frost replied, her voice filled with a mixture of pride and fear. But there's no way to remote detonate. Someone will have to stay behind to manually initiate the sequence. Maya nodded, having expected this. I'll do it. The rest of you get to the escape pods. That's an order. Protests erupted from the crew, but Maya silenced them with a look. This isn't up for debate. Go now. Make sure the Lumina know what happened here. Make sure Earth knows. As the bridge crew reluctantly filed out, only Commander Harper remained behind. Jack, Maya began, but he cut her off. Don't even try, Maya. We started this together, we'll finish it together. A small smile played on Maya's lips. Stubborn to the end, old friend. All right then, let's give them hell. The Stormbreaker shuddered as it entered the swirling vortex of dark energy surrounding the Void Horde flagship. Alarms blared as systems failed across the ship, but its course remained true. Impact in 5, 4, 3, Harper counted down. Maya closed her eyes, thinking of Earth, of the family she'd left behind. For humanity, she whispered. For all life in the galaxy. 2, 1. The Stormbreaker slammed into the Void Horde flagship with devastating force. As the ship's hulls crumpled and intertwined, Maya and Jack worked feverishly, initiating the resonance wave sequence. Energy built up within the Stormbreaker's reactor, amplified by the lunar technology. It pulsed outward in ever-increasing waves, disrupting the dark energy fields of the Void Horde ships. On the planet's surface, the Lumina watched in awe as the sky lit up with a dazzling display of light and energy. The oppressive presence of the Void Horde began to fade, their ships fell silent and drifted. In the heart of the destruction, as the Stormbreaker's reactor reached critical levels, Maya Steele and Jack Harper shared one final look. No words were needed. They had done their duty, saved a civilization, and perhaps changed the course of galactic history. The reactor detonated, releasing a blast of energy that consumed the Void Horde flagship and rippled outward. When the light faded, the Void Horde fleet hung motionless in space, their dark energy drained, their threat neutralized. On Lumina Prime, as the people emerged from their shelters, blinking in the light of their violet sun, a new era dawned. The Lumina had been saved, but more than that, they had witnessed something profound, the selfless sacrifice of a species they had never met. As news of the battle spread across the galaxy, the legend of the Stormbreaker and its brave crew grew. Humanity, once seen as upstarts in the cosmic community, had proven themselves to be champions of life itself. And somewhere, in the great beyond, Captain Maya Steele and her loyal crew stood watch, their legacy burning bright among the stars they had given everything to protect. Battle preparations. In the aftermath of the Stormbreaker's sacrifice, the Lumina homeworld was abuzz with activity. The Void Horde threat had been neutralized, but at a terrible cost. As the dust settled, High Keeper Ilara stood before the Grand Council, her luminous form dimmed with sorrow and gratitude. "We owe our existence to the humans," she proclaimed, her melodious voice carrying across the crystalline chamber. "Their sacrifice must not be in vain. We must prepare, for surely the Void Horde will return." As if in answer to her words, a commotion erupted outside the council chambers. A group of bedraggled figures was escorted in, their appearance causing gasps of surprise and wonder among the assembled Lumina. They were human, the survivors of the Stormbreaker's crew, led by Dr. Evelyn Frost. Dr. Frost stepped forward, her normally composed demeanor shaken but resolute. "High Keeper Ilara, esteemed members of the Lumina Council, we come seeking asylum and offering our assistance. The Stormbreaker's sacrifice has bought us time, but as you say, the Void Horde will return. We must prepare." Ilara's eyes shimmered with an inner light as she regarded the human survivors. "Dr. Frost, you and your people will always have a home among the Lumina. Your bravery and that of your fallen comrades will be honored for generations to come." As the Lumina Council convened to discuss the next steps, Dr. Frost and her team were given access to the planet's most advanced scientific facilities. The fusion of human military expertise and Lumina technological prowess would prove to be a powerful combination. Weeks passed and the planet transformed. Under the guidance of Lieutenant Raj Patel, the Lumina began constructing a planetary defense grid unlike anything seen before in the galaxy. Massive energy projectors, powered by the planet's unique crystal core, were erected at strategic points across the globe. Meanwhile, Dr. Frost worked tirelessly with Lumina scientists to refine the resonance wave technology that had proven so effective against the Void Horde. "If we can create a sustainable field," she explained to a rapt audience of Lumina researchers, "we might be able to create a permanent deterrent against future attacks." But it was Ensign Zara Chen who made perhaps the most significant breakthrough. Working with Lumina communication experts, she managed to boost the planet's long-range signaling capabilities. "We need reinforcements," she argued before the council. "Earth needs to know what happened here and what's coming." High Keeper Ilara, recognizing the wisdom in the young ensign's words, gave her approval. A powerful distress signal was sent out, carrying with it the tale of the Stormbreaker's heroism and a warning about the Void Horde threat. As the days turned to weeks and weeks to months, Lumina Prime became a fortress world. The once peaceful species, guided by their human allies, learned the art of defense. But true to their nature, they approached warfare with a philosopher's mind and an artist's heart. Lumina warriors trained not in aggression, but in the art of deflection and energy manipulation. Their weapons were designed not to destroy, but to disrupt and disable. It was a new form of combat, one that melded the Lumina's pacifist ideals with the necessities of survival. 6 months after the Stormbreaker's last stand, as the planet stood ready and vigilant, a new signal was detected. Dr. Frost, now serving as the liaison between the humans and the Lumina Council, rushed to the control center. "Report," she demanded, her heart pounding with a mixture of hope and fear. A young Luna technician, his phone pulsing with excitement, responded, "Doctor, we're detecting multiple ships entering the system. They're human vessels." The main view screen flickered to life, showing a fleet of Earth ships dropping out of faster-than-light travel. At their head was a massive dreadnought, its hull gleaming in the light of Lumina's sun. "This is Admiral Helena Vega of the Earth Defense Force," a strong voice came through the comms. "We received your distress call. The cavalry has arrived." A cheer went up from the human survivors, tears of joy and relief streaming down their faces. They were no longer alone. As the Earth fleet took up defensive positions around Lumina Prime, Admiral Vega and her senior staff shuttled down to the planet's surface. The meeting that followed in the Grand Council chamber was one for the history books, the first official diplomatic exchange between Earth and Lumina. Admiral Vega, a tall woman with steel-grey hair and eyes that had seen countless battles, stood before the assembled Lumina dignitaries and her fellow humans. "On behalf of Earth and all her colonies, I extend our deepest condolences for your losses and our profound gratitude for the shelter you've provided our people." Her gaze swept the chamber, taking in the unique beauty of Lumina architecture and the ethereal forms of its inhabitants. "The crew of the Stormbreaker showed us the best of humanity, courage, sacrifice, and a willingness to stand up for those in need, no matter the cost. Their actions have opened the door to what I hope will be a long and fruitful alliance between our peoples." Highkeeper Elara stepped forward, her luminous form seeming to embrace the Admiral without physical contact. "Admiral Vega, the Lumina welcome you and your people with open hearts. The humans who have lived among us these past months have taught us much, and we in turn have shared our knowledge with them. Together, we have prepared for the return of the Void Horde. But now, with your arrival, we dare to hope for more than mere survival." As the diplomatic niceties concluded, the real work began. Admiral Vega and her staff were given a full briefing on the defenses that had been established and the advancements made in anti-Void Horde technology. "Impressive," Vega mused as she studied the schematics of the planetary defense grid. "With your permission, Highkeeper, I'd like to integrate our fleet into your defense strategy. We've developed some new technologies of our own since receiving your distress call." Elara nodded her assent, and soon the orbit of Lumina Prime was bustling with activity. Earth ships merged seamlessly with Lumin defenses, creating a multi-layered protective shell around the planet. But even as they prepared for war, both humans and Lumina knew that defense alone would not be enough. The Void Horde threat needed to be eliminated at its source. It was Dr. Frost who proposed the audacious plan. "We need to take the fight to them," she argued before a joint council of Earth and Lumina leaders. The resonance wave technology, combined with Earth's military might and Lumina's energy manipulation skills, we could mount an offensive that the Void Horde wouldn't expect. Admiral Vega leaned forward, her interest piqued. "What exactly are you proposing, Doctor?" Frost's eyes gleamed with the fire of scientific discovery. "A strike team. A small, elite force equipped with resonance wave devices. While the fleet engages the Void Horde in space, this team could infiltrate their command structure, maybe even find a way to shut them down for good. The chamber erupted in discussion. It was a risky plan, fraught with danger. But as debate raged, a quiet voice cut through the clamor. It was Zara Chen, the young ensign who had worked so hard to bring Earth's fleet to their aid. "We owe it to Captain Steele and the crew of the Stormbreaker," she said, her voice growing stronger with each word. "They gave everything to save people they'd never met. We have a chance to finish what they started, to ensure their sacrifice wasn't in vain." A hush fell over the assembly. Then, slowly, heads began to nod in agreement. The plan was risky, yes, but the alternative, waiting for the Void Horde to return on their terms, was unthinkable. "Very well," Admiral Vega said, standing to address the council. "We'll begin preparations immediately. Dr. Frost, I want you to head up the scientific division. Work with our Lumina allies to refine the resonance wave technology for offensive use." She turned to the Lumina representatives. "Highkeeper Elara, if you're willing, we'd like to include some of your people in the strike team. Your energy manipulation skills could be the key to success." Elara conferred briefly with her advisors before responding. "We are a peaceful people, Admiral, but we have learned that sometimes peace must be defended with decisive action. You will have our full cooperation." As the meeting adjourned, a sense of purpose filled the air. Humans and Lumina alike moved with renewed determination. The next weeks were a flurry of activity, training exercises, technological refinements, strategy sessions that lasted long into the night. The strike team began to take shape. Led by Commander Zara Chen, Zora's older sister, and one of Earth's most decorated Special Forces operators, it was a diverse group. Humans trained in the art of stealth and combat worked alongside Lumina energy manipulators, each learning from the other. Dr. Frost and her team worked tirelessly, miniaturizing the resonance wave technology into portable devices that could be carried by the strike team. These devices, when activated, could disrupt the Void Horde's energy-draining capabilities at close range. As the preparations neared completion, Admiral Vega called for one final briefing. The combined Earth-Lumina fleet hung in orbit, a testament to the unprecedented cooperation between the two species. On the planet's surface, defenses stood ready, a gleaming network of energy projectors and shield generators. "We face an enemy that threatens not just our worlds, but life itself," Vega addressed the assembled leaders and strike team members. "The Void Horde seeks to consume all in its path, to reduce the vibrant tapestry of galactic civilization to nothing more than fuel for its insatiable hunger." She paused, her gaze sweeping across the faces before her, human and Lumina, united in purpose. "But in facing this threat, we'd have forged something remarkable. A partnership between two vastly different species, a sharing of knowledge and culture that has made us both stronger." Highkeeper Elara stepped forward, her luminous form pulsing with determination. "The Lumina have long believed in the power of harmony, of finding balance in the universe. In our human allies, we have found a complement to our own nature, your drive, your adaptability, your unwavering courage in the face of adversity. Together, we are more than we could ever be alone." As if to punctuate her words, alarms suddenly blared throughout the command center. Lieutenant Patel's voice, tense but controlled, cut through the noise. Multiple contacts detected at the edge of the system. Energy signatures match known Void Horde configurations. They're back, and in greater numbers than before. A hush fell over the assembled leaders. The moment they had prepared for, hoped against, and feared had finally arrived. Admiral Vega straightened, her voice ringing with authority. "This is it, people. Everything we've worked for comes down to this moment. Remember why we fight, not just for our own survival, but for every species that will never know the terror of the Void Horde if we succeed today." She turned to Commander Zara Chen and her strike team. "You know your mission. While we engage their fleet, you find a way aboard their command ship. Shut them down, whatever it takes." Zara nodded, her expression grim but determined. "We won't let you down, Admiral. For the Stormbreaker, for Earth and Lumina." for life itself. As the strike team moved out and the fleet prepared for battle, Dr. Frost found herself standing next to Highkeeper Elara. The human scientist and the Lumina leader watched as ships began to launch, filling the sky with streaks of light. "I never imagined I'd see anything like this," Frost mused, her voice quiet. Two species, so different, united against a common threat. Elara's form shimmered with what might have been the Lumina equivalent of a smile. "Perhaps this is the true purpose of the cosmos, Dr. Frost. Not conflict, not consumption, but connection. The forging of bonds across the vast gulfs of space and understanding." As the first shots of the battle lit up the sky, human and Lumina stood side by side, ready to face whatever came. The fate of two worlds, and perhaps the entire galaxy, hung in the balance. But in this moment of crisis, a new hope had been born, a hope forged in the crucible of adversity, tempered by sacrifice, and strengthened by the power of unity. The battle for the future of the galaxy was about to begin. The first clash. The void of space erupted in a dazzling display of light and energy as the combined Earth-Lumina fleet engaged the Void Horde. Admiral Vega stood on the bridge of her flagship, the EFS Vengeance, her steely gaze fixed on the tactical holodisplay. "All ships, execute Battle Plan Omega," she commanded, her voice steady despite the chaos unfolding around them. "Remember your training. Work together. We are the line that holds against the darkness." The human ships, sleek and powerful, moved in perfect coordination with their Lumina counterparts. Where Earth vessels brought raw firepower and tactical precision, the Lumina ships danced through space, their energy manipulation technology creating shields and disruption fields that confounded the Void Horde's targeting systems. On the surface of Lumina Prime, Dr. Evelyn Frost and Highkeeper Elara monitored the battle from the Planetary Defense Command Center. The massive energy projectors, fruits of their combined scientific labor, stood ready to provide support to the fleet. "Energy readings from the Void Horde ships are off the charts," Frost muttered, her eyes darting across streams of data. "They've evolved since our last encounter. The resonance wave might not be as effective." Elara's luminous form pulsed with concern. "Then we must adapt as well, Dr. Frost. Our survival depends on it." As the space battle raged, Commander Sarah Chen and her strike team approached the massive Void Horde command ship in a specially modified stealth shuttle. The vessel, a hybrid of human and Lumina technology, slipped past the enemy's outer defenses undetected. "Remember," Sarah addressed her team, a mix of hardened human special forces and Lumina energy adepts, "our goal is to reach the ship's central core. Intel suggests that's where they coordinate their hive mind. If we can disrupt it, we might be able to throw their entire fleet into disarray." Zara Chen, now a full lieutenant, checked her resonance wave device one last time. "Let's hope these work as well in practice as they did in simulations," she said, a hint of nervousness in her voice. Kalor, a Lumina energy manipulator, placed a comforting hand on Zara's shoulder. The touch sent a small spark of warmth through the human. "Have faith, Zara," Kalor's melodious voice soothed. "Our people's combined knowledge has created something truly remarkable. We will not fail." The shuttle latched onto the hull of the Void Horde command ship with barely a tremor. Using cutting tools enhanced with Lumina energy manipulation, the team quickly and quietly carved an entrance. As they made their way through the alien vessel, the true horror of the Void Horde became apparent. The interior was a nightmarish blend of organic and mechanical components, pulsing with dark energy. The walls themselves seemed alive, tendrils of shadow reaching out hungrily towards the intruders. "Stay close," Sarah whispered, her pulse rifle at the ready. "And remember your training. Don't let this place get into your head." They encountered surprisingly little resistance as they delved deeper into the ship. It was Kalor who first realized why. "They don't see us as a threat," the Lumina observed. "To them, we're just more energy to be consumed." The implication sent a chill through the team. They weren't facing an enemy in the traditional sense, but a force of nature, cold, implacable and utterly alien in its hunger. Meanwhile, in space, the battle had reached a fever pitch. Admiral Vega's strategy of using Earth's firepower to create openings for precise luminous energy strikes was proving effective, but the sheer numbers of the Void Horde were overwhelming. "Admiral," Lieutenant Purtell's voice cut through the chaos on the Vengeance's bridge. "We're detecting a massive energy buildup in the enemy command ship. Whatever they're planning, it's big." Vega's eyes narrowed as she studied the tactical display. "They're preparing to fire their main weapon," she realized aloud. If that hits Lumina Prime, she didn't need to finish the thought. They all knew the planet wouldn't survive such an assault. "All ships, concentrate fire on these coordinates," Vega ordered, highlighting a section of the Void Horde command ship. "We need to buy our strike team more time." On the planet's surface, Dr. Frost and Highkeeper Ilara came to the same realization. "We need to activate the planetary defense grid," Frost urged. "It's our only chance of withstanding that level of attack." Ilara nodded gravely. "But to generate a shield of that magnitude, it will drain our planet's core. If we sustain it for too long, Lumina Prime itself could become unstable." For a moment, the weight of the decision hung heavily between them. Then, with a shared look of determination, they made their choice. The fate of not just their world, but perhaps the entire galaxy was at stake. "Initiate full planetary shield," Ilara commanded, her voice ringing with authority. Deep beneath the surface of Lumina Prime, ancient machinery hummed to life. Energy began to flow from the planet's crystal core, channeled through the network of projectors that now encircled the globe. A shimmering barrier of pure energy began to form around the planet, growing stronger with each passing second. Inside the Void Horde command ship, Sarah Chen and her team finally reached their objective, a vast chamber at the heart of the vessel. At its center pulsed a swirling vortex of dark energy, so dense it seemed to devour light itself. "That's it," Sarah breathed, her voice filled with a mixture of awe and revulsion, the source of their hive mind. As they prepared to deploy their resonance wave devices, a chilling sound filled the chamber, a psychic scream that threatened to overwhelm their minds. The Void Horde had finally recognized the threat they posed. "Now," Sarah shouted, fighting through the mental assault, "activate the devices, give it everything you've got." Human and Lumina alike activated their resonance wave generators, the cumulative effect amplified by the Lumina's innate energy manipulation abilities. A wave of purifying energy burst forth, colliding with the dark vortex at the heart of the ship. The effect was immediate and catastrophic. The vortex began to fluctuate wildly, tendrils of dark energy lashing out in all directions. The entire ship shuddered, as if in pain. "It's working," Zara cried out, her voice barely audible of the cacophony of energies clashing around them. "But it's not enough. We need more power." Kalor stepped forward, his luminous form glowing brighter than ever before. "Then we shall give it more," the Lumen declared. "For Lumina, for Earth, for all life in the galaxy." With those words, Kalor began to channel his own life energy into the resonance wave device. The other Lumina team members, seeing his sacrifice, followed suit. The chamber filled with blinding light as the combined life force of the Lumina merged with the technology they had helped create. Sarah watched in awe and horror as her Lumina comrades poured their very essence into the fight. "Fall back," she ordered her human team members. "We need to get out of here now." As they retreated, the heart of the Void Horde command ship became a maelstrom of competing energies. The dark vortex collapsed in on itself, taking with it the Lumina who had sacrificed everything to destroy it. In space, the effect was immediate and dramatic. The Void Horde fleet, suddenly cut off from its central controlling intelligence, fell into disarray. Ships collided with one another or fired blindly into space. Admiral Vega, quick to recognize the opportunity, didn't hesitate. "All ships, press the advantage. Take them out while they're disorganized." The combined Earth-Lumina fleet surged forward, their weapons tearing through the now defenseless Void Horde vessels. On Lumina Prime, Dr. Frost and Highkeeper Elara watched in amazement as the tide of battle turned decisively in their favor. "They did it," Frost whispered, tears of joy and sorrow mingling on her cheeks. "They actually did it." Elara's form pulsed with a complex mix of emotions, relief, grief, and profound gratitude. At such cost, the Lumina leader murmured, "We will honor their sacrifice for generations to come." As the last of the Void Horde ships were destroyed or fled into the depths of space, a cheer went up across the Earth-Lumina fleet. They had faced an enemy that threatened to consume all life, and against all odds, they had emerged victorious. Admiral Vega allowed herself a small smile before turning to her communications officer. "Get me a channel to the strike team's shuttle," she ordered. "I want to personally congratulate them on a job well done." But the response she received chilled her to the bone. "Admiral," the officer reported, his voice shaking slightly, "we're only detecting human life signs aboard the returning shuttle. The Lumina members of the team, they're gone." A hush fell over the bridge as the implications sank in. The victory, it seemed, had come at a terrible cost. Hours later, as the fleet began the process of damage assessment and repair, a solemn ceremony was held on the surface of Lumina Prime. Human and Lumina alike gathered to honor those who had fallen in the battle, with special recognition given to the Lumina strike team members who had sacrificed themselves to destroy the Void Horde's controlling intelligence. Admiral Vega stood before the assembled crowd, her normally stern features softened by emotion. "Today, we gather to mourn our fallen comrades and to celebrate a victory that will resound through the ages," she began. "Human and Lumina, two species separated by vast gulfs of space and culture, came together in the face of an existential threat. Together, we achieved what neither of us could have done alone." She paused, her gaze sweeping across the sea of faces before her, human and Lumina, united in grief and triumph. The Void Horde sought to consume all in its path, to reduce the rich tapestry of galactic life to nothing more than fuel for its insatiable hunger. But in doing so, they underestimated the most powerful force in the universe, the ability of life, in all its diverse forms, to join together against a common threat. Highkeeper Elara stepped forward, her luminous form dimmed with sorrow, but still radiating an inner strength. "The Lumina have long believed in the power of harmony, of finding balance in the cosmos," she said, her melodious voice carrying across the gathering. "In our human allies, we found not just friends, but a complementary force to our own nature. Your drive, your adaptability, your unwavering courage in the face of overwhelming odds. These qualities, combined with our own gifts, created something truly remarkable." As the ceremony continued, Dr. Evelyn Frost found herself standing next to Commander Sarah Chen. The two women, who had played such crucial roles in the conflict, watched in respectful silence as the names of the fallen were read aloud. "Do you think it's over?" Frost asked quietly, her scientific mind already considering the future implications of their victory. Sarah's expression was grim but determined. "The immediate threat, yes, but the galaxy's a big place, Doc. There could be more Void Horde out there, or other threats we haven't even imagined yet." Frost nodded slowly, understanding the weight of the commander's words. "Then we'll face them together," she said, a note of newfound steel in her voice. "Human and Lumina united." As the ceremony drew to a close, Admiral Vega made one final announcement. "In recognition of the unprecedented cooperation between our peoples," she declared, "and to ensure we remain vigilant against future threats, I propose the establishment of a joint Earth-Lumina defense force. Together, we will stand watch over not just our own worlds, but all those who might fall prey to forces like the Void Horde." The proposal was met with enthusiastic approval from both humans and Lumina. As the crowd began to disperse, there was a palpable sense of hope in the air. They had faced the darkness and emerged victorious. Whatever challenges the future might hold, they would face them not as separate species, but as united defenders of life itself. The battle was over, but a new chapter in galactic history was just beginning. The legacy of the Stormbreaker, of Kalor and his fellow Lumina heroes, and of all those who had fought and sacrificed in the conflict, would live on. In the crucible of war, an unbreakable bond had been forged, one that promised to reshape the very fabric of galactic civilization. As the twin suns of Lumina Prime set on this historic day, casting the world in a soft, ethereal glow, human and Lumina alike looked to the stars with a mixture of wonder and determination. The universe, vast and full of both peril and promise, awaited, and they would face it together, stronger and more united than ever before. Ground assault. In the months following the decisive space battle against the Void Horde, a new era of cooperation between Earth and Lumina Prime blossomed. The proposed Joint Defense Force, now officially named the Galactic Guardian Coalition, GGC, took shape with remarkable speed. However, even as they celebrated their victory and forged ahead with their alliance, a sense of unease lingered. Dr. Evelyn Frost, working tirelessly with a team of human and luminous scientists, had made a disturbing discovery. The Void Horde isn't just a fleet, she explained to a joint council of Earth and Lumina leaders. It's a parasitic entity that infects and transforms entire planets. The ships we fought, they're just the tip of the iceberg. Admiral Helena Vega leaned forward, her brow furrowed. Are you saying there's a Void Horde homeworld out there? Frost nodded grimly. We've analyzed the data from the destroyed command ship. There's a planet deep in uncharted space that seems to be the source of the Horde. If we don't strike at it directly, they'll just keep coming back, stronger each time. Highkeeper Elara's luminous form pulsed with concern. To assault such a world would be incredibly dangerous. The concentration of void energy there must be enormous. Exactly why we need to do it, Commander Sarah Chen interjected. We have the element of surprise. They won't be expecting us to take the fight to them so soon after our last battle. A heated debate ensued, with arguments per caution warring against the need for decisive action. In the end, it was Lieutenant Zara Chen who tipped the scales. We owe it to those who sacrificed everything, she said, her voice quiet but firm. To Kalor, to Captain Steele and the crew of the Stormbreaker, to every human and Lumina who gave their lives. We have a chance to end this threat once and for all. We have to take it. Admiral Vega nodded, her decision made. Agreed. We'll assemble a strike force, our best ships, our most elite troops. Dr. Frost, can you weaponize the resonance wave technology for large-scale use? Frost shared a look with her Lumina counterpart, a brilliant energy manipulator named Thelos. We've been working on something, she said. A bomb that could, in theory, purge an entire planet of void energy. But to plant it, we'd need boots on the ground. Then that's what we'll do, Sarah Chen said, standing tall. I'll lead the ground assault myself. And so, Operation Daybreak was born. For weeks, the shipyards above Earth and Lumina Prime worked at fever pitch, refitting vessels with the latest resonance wave technology. Special forces from both species trained together, learning to complement each other's strengths. Finally, the day of reckoning arrived. The GGC fleet, a breathtaking array of human and Lumina ships, jumped into the uncharted system that housed the Void Horde homeworld. What they found chilled them to the core. The planet before them was a nightmarish perversion of nature. Its surface roiled with dark energy, great tentacles of void matter reaching into space. Surrounding it was the largest concentration of Horde ships they had ever encountered. By the cosmic egg, Zora breathed, staring at the tactical display aboard the flagship. How are we supposed to get through that? Admiral Vega's voice was steel as she addressed the fleet. This is what we've prepared for. Every ship, every soldier, every tactic we developed. It's all led to this moment. We are the light that pushes back the darkness. We are the guardians of life itself. And today, we end the Void Horde threat once and for all. With those words, a battle was joined. Human dreadnoughts unleashed devastating barrages, while Lumina vessels danced through enemy formations, their energy manipulation creating chaos in the Void Horde ranks. But for every enemy ship destroyed, 2 more seemed to rise from the planet's surface. In the midst of the chaotic space battle, a small, heavily modified dropship broke through the enemy lines. On board, Commander Sarah Chen and her elite strike team prepared for what might be a one-way trip. "Remember," Sarah addressed her team, a mix of hardened human special forces and Lumina energy adepts, "our objective is to reach the planet's core and plant the resonance bomb. Everything else is secondary. We hit hard, we hit fast, and we don't stop for anything." As the dropship entered the planet's atmosphere, they got their first up-close look at the horror they were facing. The ground itself seemed alive, pulsing with malevolent energy. Massive structures that defied description rose into the sky, their purpose as unfathomable as it was terrifying. "LZ is hot," the pilot shouted as void energy lashed at the ship. "Brace for impact." The landing was rough, the dropship skidding across the writhing landscape before coming to a stop. The strike team poured out, immediately engaging with the planet's defenses. Void constructs, nightmarish amalgamations of organic and inorganic matter, converged on their position. Sarah's pulsed rifle spat death, each shot enhanced by resonance wave technology to be especially lethal to void-infused entities. Beside her, Zara coordinated the team's movements, her tactical acumen shining through in the heat of battle. The Lumina members of the team were a sight to behold. Where once they had been purely pacifistic, they now wielded their energy manipulation abilities as potent weapons. Thelos, the scientist who had worked with Dr. Frost, proved particularly adept, his mastery of resonance wave principles allowing him to disrupt void constructs with a mere gesture. As they fought their way towards the planet's core, the true horror of the Void Horde homeworld became apparent. The entire planet was one massive, living organism, every rock and structure an extension of its malevolent will. "This is worse than we imagined," Zara shouted over the din of battle. "How are we supposed to plant the bomb if there's no clear core?" Sarah's mind raced, assessing and discarding plans in split seconds. Then she saw it, a massive spire in the distance, pulsing with concentrated void energy. "There," she pointed. "That has to be the nexus of their power. We plant the bomb there." The push towards the spire was brutal. Void constructs threw themselves at the strike team with suicidal abandon, sensing the threat they posed. Human and Lumina fell, their sacrifices buying precious ground. In orbit, the space battle had reached a fever pitch. The GGC fleet was holding its own, but losses were mounting. Admiral Vega watched the tactical displays with growing concern. "We can't hold them off forever," she muttered. "Chen, whatever you're going to do down there, do it fast." On the planet's surface, Sarah and what remained of her team finally reached the base of the spire. Up close, it was even more terrifying, a twisted monument to entropy and destruction that seemed to devour light itself. "Thelos," Sarah called out, "can you get us inside?" The Lumina scientist nodded, his luminous form dimmed with exhaustion, but still radiating determination. Focusing his energy manipulation abilities, enhanced by the resonance wave tech built into his suit, Thelos created a bubble of pure energy around the team. Slowly, fighting against the very fabric of the void-infused structure, he pushed them through the wall of the spire. Inside was a nightmare realm where the laws of physics seemed optional. Gravity shifted unpredictably, and streams of pure void energy crisscrossed the cavernous interior. There, Zara pointed to a pulsing mass of dark energy at the center of the chamber. "That has to be the heart of this thing." Sarah nodded grimly. "All right, let's end this. Plant the bomb and let's get out of here." But as they approached the heart, a chilling psychic scream filled their minds. The Void Horde, in its death throes, was marshalling every ounce of its power to stop them. Tendrils of void energy lashed out, seeking to consume the intruders. The team fought back valiantly, their weapons and abilities keeping the void at bay, but it was a losing battle. They were simply too overwhelmed. In a moment of clarity, Sarah realized what had to be done. "Zara," she called out, tossing the resonance bomb to her sister. "Take the team and get out of here. I'll hold them off and detonate the bomb manually." "No," Zara cried, understanding her sister's intent. "There has to be another way." But Sarah's mind was made up. "That's an order, Lieutenant. Make sure our sacrifice means something. Build the future we fought for." Before Zara could protest further, Felos enveloped her and the remaining team members in an energy bubble. With a look of profound sorrow and respect, he nodded to Sarah before guiding the bubble back through the spire's wall. Left alone in the heart of the Void Horde's power, Sarah Chen stood tall. As void tendrils lashed at her, kept at bay only by her failing shields, she thought of Earth, of Lumina Prime, of all the worlds that would be safe once this was over. "For life itself," she whispered, and activated the bomb. Outside, Zara and the survivors watched in horror as the spire erupted in a cataclysm of energy. The resonance wave, amplified by the concentration of void energy, spread rapidly across the planet's surface. Where it touched, the corrupted landscape was purged, the void energy dissipating like mist under the morning sun. In orbit, the effect was even more dramatic. The Void Horde ships, suddenly cut off from their source of power, began to disintegrate. The GGC fleet, battered but unbroken, watched in awe as their seemingly invincible enemy crumbled before their eyes. Admiral Vega's voice, thick with emotion, came over the comms. "Ground team, report. Did we do it? Is it over?" Zara, tears streaming down her face, managed to respond. "Mission accomplished, Admiral. The Void Horde is finished. But we lost Commander Chen. She sacrificed herself to make sure the bomb detonated." A moment of silence fell across the entire fleet as the news sank in. Then slowly, cheers began to rise. The Void Horde, the greatest threat life had ever faced, was no more. In the days that followed, as the fleet made its way back to Allied space, there was time for reflection. The victory had come at a terrible cost, but it had also cemented the bond between Earth and Lumina Prime. The Galactic Guardian Coalition, forged in the crucible of this conflict, stood poised to usher in a new era of peace and cooperation across the stars. On Lumina Prime, a grand memorial was erected. At its center stood holographic images of those who had given everything: Captain Maya Steele, Kalor, Commander Sarah Chen, and countless others. Human and Lumina alike came to pay their respects, to remember the sacrifices that had secured their future. Dr. Evelyn Frost, standing before the memorial with High Keeper Elara, summed up the feelings of many. "They showed us the best of what we can be," she said softly. "Human, Lumina. In the end, those distinctions didn't matter. They fought for life itself, for the very idea that diversity and cooperation are strengths to be celebrated." Elara's luminous form pulsed in agreement, and in doing so, they've given us a precious gift, the chance to build something truly remarkable together. We must not waste it. As the twin suns of Lumina Prime set, casting the memorial in a soft, ethereal glow, those gathered felt a profound sense of hope. The darkness had been pushed back, and while challenges would always remain, they would face them together, as friends, as allies, as a united force for good in a vast and wondrous galaxy. The legacy of the fallen, and of all those who had stood against the Void Horde, would live on in the civilization they had fought so hard to protect, and in the hearts of those who remained, a solemn vow was made to honor their sacrifice by building a future worthy of their courage, their compassion, and their unwavering commitment to life in all its boundless diversity. Triumph and aftermath. 5 years had passed since the fall of the Void Horde. The galaxy, once teetering on the brink of annihilation, had entered an unprecedented era of peace and cooperation. The Galactic Guardian Coalition, born in the crucible of conflict, had evolved into a beacon of hope for countless worlds. On Earth, gleaming spires of new cities reached towards the stars, that architecture a harmonious blend of human ingenuity and Lumina aesthetics. Luna Prime, once a world dedicated solely to art and philosophy, now boasted some of the most advanced defense and research installations in known space. At the heart of this new galactic order stood the Harmony Station, a massive space habitat jointly constructed by Earth and Lumina Prime. Rotating gently in orbit around a neutral star system, it served as the headquarters for the GGC and a symbol of interspecies cooperation. It was here, in the station's Grand Assembly Hall, that representatives from 100 worlds gathered to commemorate the 5th anniversary of the Void Horde's defeat. The chamber was a marvel of engineering and artistry, its transparent dome offering a breathtaking view of the cosmos beyond. Admiral Helena Vega, her hair now streaked with silver, but her bearing as commanding as ever, stood at the podium. Beside her, Highkeeper Ilara's luminous form pulsed with a warm, welcoming light. 5 years ago, Vega began, her voice carrying easily through the vast chamber. We faced a threat that sought to extinguish all life as we know it. The Void Horde was the darkness that would have consumed the stars themselves. But in our darkest hour, we discovered a profound truth, that the light of cooperation and unity burns brighter than any darkness. Ilara stepped forward, her melodious voice blending seamlessly with Vega's. We gather here today not just to remember the past, but to celebrate the future we have built together. Human and Lumina, once strangers separated by vast gulfs of space and understanding, now stand as one, and we are not alone. Indeed, the assembly hall was filled with beings from across the galaxy. Some were long-standing spacefaring races who had watched the Earth-Lumina alliance with interest. Others were younger species, inspired by the GGC's example to reach for the stars themselves. In the front row, Dr. Evelyn Frost sat alongside Thelos, the Lumina scientist who had become her closest friend and collaborator. Together, they had revolutionized the field of xenobiology, their work paving the way for greater understanding between diverse species. Next to them, Lieutenant Commander Zara Chen, now a decorated officer in the GGC fleet, listened with rapt attention. The loss of her sister still weighed heavily on her, but she had channeled her grief into a tireless dedication to the principles Sarah had died defending. As the ceremony continued, a holographic display sprang to life above the assembly. It showed images from across GGC space, joint human-Lumina colonies thriving on new worlds, massive engineering projects reshaping inhospitable planets into gardens of life, and defense fleets standing vigilant against any who would threaten the hard-won peace. But our work is far from over, Admiral Vega continued, her tone growing serious. The galaxy is vast, and there are still threats out there, some known, others yet to be discovered. The Void Horde may be gone, but the lessons we learned in facing them must never be forgotten. Highkeeper Ilara nodded in agreement, which is why today we are proud to announce the next phase of the Galactic Guardian Coalition's mission. No longer will we be content to simply defend. It is time for us to explore, to reach out to the unknown corners of our galaxy with open hands and open hearts. A murmur of excitement rippled through the assembled dignitaries. Vega allowed herself a small smile before continuing. We are commissioning a new class of ships, the Horizon-class explorer vessels. Larger than anything we've built before, equipped with the most advanced technology both our peoples can provide. These ships will carry the best and brightest of our combined civilizations to the edges of known space and beyond. The holographic display shifted, showing a massive ship unlike anything seen before. It was a perfect fusion of human and Lumina design philosophy, sleek and powerful, yet also organic and flowing. At its heart pulsed a new type of drive, one that promised to unlock vast new regions of the galaxy for exploration. The lead ship of this class, Ilara announced, her form glowing with pride, will be christened the ELA Stormbreaker, in honor of the vessel and crew that started us on this journey. It will carry forward the legacy of Captain Maya Steele and all those who gave everything to secure our future. In the audience, Zara Chen felt tears welling in her eyes. It was a fitting tribute, one that ensured the sacrifices of the past would continue to inspire future generations. As the assembly broke into applause, Dr. Frost leaned over to Thelos. "Did you ever imagine, back when we first met, that we'd end up here?" she asked, her voice filled with wonder. The luminous scientist's form shimmered with what Frost had learned was their equivalent of a chuckle. "My dear Evelyn, I could not have conceived of this future in my wildest dreams. And yet, now that we are here, I cannot imagine any other path." Their conversation was interrupted as Admiral Vega called for attention once more. "Before we conclude this ceremony, there is one more announcement to make. As we look to the stars and the adventures that await us, we must also ensure that the bonds between our peoples continue to strengthen." She gestured, and a group of young cadets, human and Lumina alike, stepped forward. "I am proud to introduce the first graduating class of the Galactic Academy. These young men, women, and beings represent the future of our alliance. They have trained together, learned from each other's cultures, and are now ready to take their place as the next generation of explorers and guardians." The assembly hall erupted in cheers as the cadets stood tall, their faces beaming with pride and purpose. Among them, Frost spotted a familiar face, the son of Commander Sura Chen, following in his aunt's and mother's footsteps. As the ceremony drew to a close, the attendees began to mingle, forming new connections and strengthening existing ones. The atmosphere was one of optimism and excitement for the future. Admiral Vega found herself approached by a group of representatives from a newly contacted species. Their bioluminescent tentacles waving in what she had learned was a gesture of respect. "Admiral," their translator hummed, "we have observed your Galactic Guardian Coalition with great interest. Our people have long debated whether to make contact with other spacefaring races. It was your example, your unity in the face of the Void Horde, and your commitment to peaceful exploration that convinced us to reach out." Vega smiled warmly, extending her hand in the human gesture of greeting. "On behalf of the GGC, I welcome you. We have much to learn from each other, and I look forward to the day when your people might join our coalition as full members." Across the room, Dr. Frost and Thelos were deep in conversation with a group of scientists from various worlds. They were discussing plans for a massive, multi-species research initiative aimed at unlocking the secrets of the universe. "Imagine," Frost said, her eyes alight with enthusiasm, "pooling the knowledge and unique perspectives of 100 different species. We could make breakthroughs in physics, medicine, and technology that would have been impossible for any one race working alone." Thelos pulsed in agreement, and in doing so, we further strengthen the bonds between our peoples. Knowledge, freely shared, becomes a foundation for lasting peace. Meanwhile, Sura Chen found herself drawn to the viewport, gazing out at the star-studded expanse beyond. She felt a presence beside her and turned to see High Keeper Elara. "Heavy thoughts, young one?" the Lumina leader asked gently. Zara nodded, her expression thoughtful. "I was just thinking about my sister, about all those we lost to get here. I wonder what they would think of what we've built." Elara's form shimmered with empathy. "I believe they would be proud. More than that, I believe they are a part of this. Every decision we make, every life we touch, their legacy lives on through us." As they stood there, contemplating the vast universe before them, a commotion near the center of the hall drew their attention. A group of cadets had begun an impromptu demonstration, humans showcasing their martial arts alongside lunar energy manipulation techniques. What started as a display of individual skills soon melded into a breathtaking dance of cooperation, each species complementing the other in perfect harmony. The sight brought smiles to both Zara and Elara's faces. It was a perfect encapsulation of what they had achieved, two vastly different species, learning from each other, becoming stronger together than they ever could have been apart. As the celebration continued long into the night, the inhabitants of Harmony Station were unaware that they were being observed. Far beyond the edge of known space, ancient eyes watched with interest. The defeat of the Void Horde and the subsequent flourishing of cooperative interspecies civilization had not gone unnoticed. In the depths of intergalactic space, a conclave of unfathomably old beings convened. They had watched countless civilizations rise and fall over the eons, rarely interfering. But this was something new. The younglings have surprised us, one being pulsed, its thoughts resonating across vast distances. They faced the devourers and emerged not just victorious, but transformed. Another, its consciousness spanning entire galaxies, responded, "Perhaps it is time. We have slumbered long, waiting for those who might be worthy to join us in stewarding the cosmos." A third, ancient beyond reckoning, added, "Let us watch a while longer. If they can maintain this path of unity and exploration, if they can face the trials that are to come, then we shall reveal ourselves. The age of isolation may finally be ending." With that, the conclave dispersed, its members returning to their vigil. The beings of the Galactic Guardian Coalition, celebrating their achievements and looking to the future with hope, had no idea that they stood on the threshold of an even greater adventure. Back on Harmony Station, as the twin suns of the system rose, painting the stars with hues of gold and crimson, Admiral Vega stood alone at the grand viewport. She thought of all they had been through, of the challenges they had overcome and the price they had paid. But more than that, she thought of the future, a future brighter and more filled with promise than she had ever dared to dream. "We're ready," she whispered to the cosmos. "Whatever comes next, we'll face it together." As if in response, a shooting star streaked across the vista before her, a fleeting reminder of the wonders and mysteries that still awaited them in the vast, beautiful, and ever-surprising universe. The Galactic Guardian Coalition, born from the union of Earth and Lumina Prime, strengthened by shared struggle and triumph, stood ready to write the next chapter in the grand story of life among the stars. And as the new day dawned, bringing with it endless possibilities, one thing was certain: the adventure was only just beginning.